the beautiful theme that came out of it is that it really wasn't that big of an ask or a struggle for them to get on board. It really was just a conversation like, hey, we're trying to make a change. You're in Los Angeles. What do you see when you go outside? Do you want to make a change?
This episode is brought to you by my book, Speak From Within. Learn how you can engage, inspire, and motivate any audience. You can also download my 4 simple tips to make starting any conversation a breeze at the link in the show notes. Hello and welcome to the Creative Solutions Podcast. I'm your host, Izolda Trachtenberg. Whether you're writing the first sentence of a book or solving the climate crisis, to get people's attention, you need to tell your story creatively. On the show, I interview peak performers who are coming up with those creative stories and solutions. Through creativity, compassion, and collaboration, they're changing the world. I also bring you ideas and techniques to unlock your potential to do the same. And now, let's get to the show. Hello, and welcome to the Creative Solutions Podcast. I'm your host, Izolda Trachtenberg. Thank you so much for listening. I am thrilled to have my guest on the show today because we're all aware of the ongoing challenge to address homelessness in the whole country. These 2 folks are doing it in LA, and they're doing incredible work. We know that there's an incredible need to provide access to affordable housing to the city's most vulnerable population, women and children. Thanks to the Uncle Ardy Foundation, founded by Ardy Pirnia of Pirnia Law Group, Hope of the Valley Rescue Mission, Hot Rod, and MGA Consulting, Inc., the Save LA campaign has launched to help address this very issue in the city of Los Angeles. How cool is that? MGA Consulting, Inc., a boutique marketing firm founded by Matthew Arce and based in LA, facilitated a collaboration between these organizations as a way to build a meaningful connection between the organizations and to give back to the community. Again, how cool is that? The Uncle Ardy Foundation has raised over $1 million to help provide 172 beds for homeless families and women and children, a reliable source of food for these families, tutoring for children, and mental health support. And Hot Rod has committed to donating a portion of their apparel sales from the Save LA collection to the Uncle Ardy Foundation for further support. And I'm going to have to say this in just a second. Can you imagine the collective fundraising ability of these folks? It's incredible. The restored hotel, named The Uncle, is a symbol of the public and private sectors coming together to solve one of the most important challenges in Los Angeles. Uncle Ardy and Matthew, thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Thank you, Izolda. We really appreciate it.
I am so thrilled to have you both because obviously this is a chronic issue in the country, and LA is one of the biggest cities. The LA area is one of the biggest sort of populated areas in the country, and you 2 decided to make this a mission to address people who are without housing, without food. I'd love to get your thoughts, both of you, one at a time. I know we're sometimes with 3 people, it's a little difficult to talk about how did you get to the point where you went, you know what, I'm going to go get my hands dirty, get involved and do something about this. Uncle Ardy, if you don't mind, would you talk about a little bit about what inspired you to start this incredible collaboration and to save LA?
Yeah, thank you, Izolda. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. We really appreciate that. You know, I'm born and raised in LA. I actually, a lot of people don't know, but me and Matthew went to school since we were 7 years old together.
Wow.
And, you know, it was before the time of Instagram and TikTok and everyone on the phone. And there was just, it was so much freer for us to roam around the city and just be kids and teenagers. And as we got older and we got into our 30s and the homeless and the crime, everything started going higher and higher in the city. Me and Matthew were both just like, you know, if we don't do something, who's going to do it? The people that are kind of a bit older than us, maybe are more caught up with kids and a mortgage and other issues. And as we're still paving our way in the city business wise, we thought it's the perfect time to try to put our heads together and save LA. And so our first mission via my foundation and my law firm was to tackle the homelessness issue, because in fact, in a recent study that came out, it said that the entire population of homeless people in this country, almost 30% of them are in California, in Los Angeles. So it's something that really near and dear to our hearts, because I don't want to run. I don't want to leave the city like a lot of our peers have done. A lot of people are moving to Orange County. They're moving to Vegas. They're moving to Florida. They're moving even to NorCal. But I refuse to leave the city that we were born and raised in, and I love so much.
I appreciate everything you just said. And I think the notion of watching it for such a long time and seeing all the changes is a really compelling one. And I definitely want to get back to it. But I'd love, Matthew, if you would give your answer to that same question. And if you need me to repeat it, I so can. What inspired you? What inspired your part of this to get together with Uncle Ardy and really focus in on this aspect of saving LA?
No, thank you so much again for having us on, and we really, really appreciate it. And
my pleasure.
It's really kind of the same thing, honestly. You know, Ardy and I, we kind of grew up in the city, and it's been unfortunate to really see what's been going on, especially right now when you walk outside your house with all of the tents, and it's just, you've seen it deteriorate and become this crisis. And, you know, not to disrespect anybody who's been trying to make change, but it just felt like it was getting out of hand and becoming accepted of this is just sort of the state of what it is. And people were just turning their heads to the situation. And Ardy and I had multiple conversations about it. And, you know, now that we're in our 30s and we were doing business together, we wanted to try to come up with a creative way to make meaningful change and to really make a difference in the city, and to make it easy for people to get on board and to make that change with us as well.
I think that's such a powerful statement, that to make it easy for people to get on board. It seems to me the word frictionless comes to mind here, that part of your mission is to make it super easy for people to take ownership of their city. And it's interesting to me in looking at, because I have lived many, many different places. I'm an immigrant myself and moved to this country when I was 7 years old. And so I never had that sense of this is home base. But for you two both, home base and the unwillingness to leave where you come from is so powerful. And yet here I am going, okay, but you noticed it happening. And there are millions of people in LA who noticed it happening and who may have complained or been upset, but didn't actually get up and go, you know what, I'm doing something. Can you both talk about what went on? If you know the moment, if you remember the moment when you went, you know what, I'm going to do something about this. This is too much. I need to help. Can you talk a little bit about the mindset of that? What happened inside you that made you go, you know what? If not now, when? And if not me, who? Right? Uncle Ardy, do you have a thought about that?
Yeah, actually, Izolda, I love how you brought up the immigrant point, because it's a very important one. My family too immigrated to this country after the Iranian Revolution in 1979, and from what everyone has seen transpire in the last few months there, you could see that nothing's really changed, and it's 40 years later. And so, but it's a really important point in the sense that, you know, this country was built on the fact that it's a safe haven for everybody, and the doors open, and not only metaphorically, but literally opportunity-wise. And a lot of people don't know, but I'd say over 90% of the population of countries like Iran, they love America, they love the West, they love everything that we stand for, but they would never believe the status that so many people that live side by side with us are living in our major cities. And until we address that, how can we be a safe haven for anybody when you want to escape another country where you can't even dress a certain way, but then you come here and you're afraid your car is gonna be stolen, or there's gonna be a trash can lit on fire down the street from your home. So I think the immigrant part is a really poignant issue, and an important one, which is also what made me want to do something. A lot of people don't know, but for my family, for 7 generations back in Iran and Persia, before it was even called Iran, they were part of the government, of the people, and they really built the country. So my whole life, I felt like I have this civic duty ingrained in me. And I didn't know how I would give back and what I would do, but everything just developed to lead me to this point where, we have enough power and connections in the city, via my firm and MGA Consulting's connections, that we brought so many people together. And I said, Matt, let's put this burden, for lack of a better word, on our back, on our shoulders, and let's go all the way, because it's just in me.
I love that answer. I'm like, you're gonna. By the way, both
sorry,
of you
I'm getting deep over here.
No. That's exactly that's exactly what I'm hoping for. Because no, this is you're gonna hear. I'm gonna tell you now. You're gonna hear me pause periodically. I believe in the power of the pause and the power of taking a breath, because I'm taking it all in. So if you hear me like not say anything, it's because I'm going, yes, this is wonderful. No, I really appreciate what you said, and we're both immigrants having different experiences, but at the same time, that notion of wanting to be here and wanting to be involved in helping improve things for other people, it's ingrained. And I appreciate you saying that, Uncle Ardy. It's so important. And yet there are stories, millions of stories of people coming to LA with hope in their hearts who didn't have an outcome that was as positive, and who still don't. And so it's wonderful to me that you're doing this. I appreciate it very much. Matthew. Oh yeah, no, I'm honored to be talking to you both. Matthew, do you have a thought about that answer? I know the question was asked a while ago, but it was really about that moment, that instant when you went, you know what, it's now and it's me. I'm going to get involved.
Yeah, honestly, I think it was a combination of a couple things. Growing up and not only living in a lot of different areas of Los Angeles, it was kind of this thing where you would walk outside and it seemed like every month you would just see the situation get worse. You would see different people, like I said, in tents, or the tent started to grow, and it really started to feel like it was getting out of control. And I think there was this consensus in Los Angeles where it became this running joke of, oh, things are getting out of control. And you started to almost feel as if some people in Los Angeles, they started to grow a sort of annoyance or hatred towards, these people. And for me, I kind of looked at it as this is insane. These are people. We need to look at this from a standpoint of compassion and empathy. And these are people that need help. And from the conversations that Ardy and I had, I think, along with the gratefulness that we had for the success that we had with business, I think it's also important to look at the situation. Okay, how can we serve others? How can we make a difference in our community and in our home? And when we took a look at it, it was, okay, you can make a donation, you can do certain things. And I feel like it's a situation where some people might make a donation. It's like, okay, I did what I had to do.
I did my part, right?
Right. But what if we took it a step further? What if we created a campaign that not only brought awareness to the situation, but once you make a donation or you purchase a Save LA item, it lives past that. So you buy a hoodie, which has, artwork on it and shows the Save LA campaign. You wear that around, and all of a sudden you're wearing it, and somebody asks you, oh, where did you get that hoodie from? Where did you get that shirt from? And then it becomes part of the conversation. Oh, I'm supporting the Save LA campaign, homelessness in Los Angeles. and it lives much further than
Mhm.
the original conversation, and brings more awareness to this crisis that we're dealing with, and hopefully gets a lot more people on board to join in and possibly inspire others to do the same.
Yay. I nominate you both for president. So
No, actually, Izolda, I have one more thing to add.
yes, please.
Matt is much more diplomatic than me. I'm going to just take it a step further and challenge the listeners and really and the whole country to listen up. You know, it's so easy for everyone to take. And I tell Matt all the time, especially in my business, being in the service industry as an attorney, as a plaintiff's attorney, and dealing with a slice of our general population. We have over 2,000 active clients in my firm right now. And what I'm seeing is it's like everyone wants to take, but when is it that you give back? When is it that you do something, not necessarily for how it's going to benefit you directly or monetarily, but when you do it because you're a good person or a good citizen or out of the goodness of your heart? We need more of that in 2023, because what I'm seeing in our city, in our country, in our world is like this self-fulfilling prophecy of all those sci-fi movies, you know, like Blade Runner, when it goes into the future, or whatever sci-fi movie you want to look at. We're literally, our world is turning into that. And it's like 20 years ago when we watched these movies, we thought it was so far from our world, but we are heading right for that. If everyone who's a good person and has the means doesn't start helping those who don't have it.
Well, first of all, yay, I agree completely. Second of all, you mentioned my favorite science fiction movie. Thank you so much for that. But you know what's interesting, though? I have to say, some of this, you know, you two have decided that this is your cause, and I think that's amazing. But I think there's a lot of fatigue out there. People feel overwhelmed about there's so much to do. There's so many different things and causes that need help all the time. The people are getting tired. And so what you said earlier, Matthew, about being frictionless, about it being easy to get involved, your point is well taken here. It sounds like you two have made it pretty easy for people to get involved. And that leads me to my next question. What are the steps? How can someone who goes, you know what, I want to get involved in the Save LA campaign, whether they're in LA or like I am in New York City, how would they do it?
So it's actually pretty simple. We devised a plan to work with a boutique clothing store, which is Hot Rod Los Angeles. They've been there over on Sawtell if people are in Los Angeles for a long time. But you can also visit www.hotrodla.com. And we put the whole Save LA collection on there. And it's a collection of hoodies, shirts, sweatshirts, with designs that we came up with that we knew if we were going to do this, it was going to have to be something that people actually wanted to wear. Ardy and I had a lot of conversations. It was like, if we're going to make a clothing line that's going to promote this whole thing, you know, and Ardy and I sat there countless hours looking over different designs, coming up with different artwork for the hoodies, and we're extremely proud of the collection. We're extremely proud of what we came up with. And if you purchase it, you know, we do everything on the back end. So all of the things that we're working with, we're also working with an organization, Hope of the Valley, that's been fighting this fight for about 15 years. And that was another thing that Ardy and I wanted to make sure that we did, because we were so new to the space and really trying to make this change. So we wanted to make sure that we partnered with an organization that has been doing this for a long time, where we could learn from, that could give us the resources and the information that we needed to make meaningful change in a shorter period of time.
Yeah. And it's interesting to me, you know, this is the Creative Solutions Podcast, la, la, la. So what's interesting to me about that specifically is that you came up with an artistic creative solution, right? This is something that's going to be fun for people to get involved in, because it's something that's wearable art in many ways. And I think that is so important, especially sort of in the TikTok generation, where people are putting what they wear front and center and, you know, as part of who they are. So I think that's amazing. And I'm going to ask you both if you would get me pictures so we can put it on the show notes, and the people who come to this episode will be able to see those, and perhaps, you know, if we put links in to order them, people can order them and stuff to sort of make it even more frictionless for people to get involved. And so that's one way. And I love that. But you two also sound like you're doing fundraising in other ways. Do you have any other ways that someone who's starting a nonprofit or who's got a nonprofit might do it? They might not all have the artistic bent you two have to create something like clothing line. What other ways are you fundraising, if you can talk about it?
One thing that we've done was the state of California and the county of Los Angeles, they purchased an old motel in downtown to the tune of $9 million. And with the help of Hope of the Valley, they plan to turn it into a homeless community for women and children. Because a lot of people don't understand this homeless population, even though the statistics are unclear, at least 10 to 20% are under the age of 18. And so it makes such a difference when you're not only giving homeless people a safe place to live, but a place that there will be tutoring, that there will be security. And what happened was there was $1 million gap in the state and Hope of the Valley's initiative in building the motel. And they approached me and they said, "Hey, Uncle, if you can help raise this last $1 million, we'd love to call the building the Uncle." So
I love it.
Me and Matthew and the firm, we jumped in, and you know, I want to give a shout out to a lot of our partners. Things like this, they don't happen in this city if you don't have big players behind you. And the Los Angeles Galaxy from the Major League Soccer League, they stepped in and they really helped us. UCLA, the worldwide institution, and by the way, my undergrad, they came in and stepped in and they really helped us out. The NFL's Chargers, you know, so many of our partners came to help us out. A lot of the radio stations in LA, they came. Power 106, 92.3, Mega. So many people played a part in us throwing an event and being able to raise that last $1 million. And so we're hoping to have the Uncle unveiled later in the spring. And you know, it's going to be somewhere that's a safe haven for almost 200 homeless women and children. So we're incredibly proud of that, but we're also proud of the state, of the public and private sector. You know, a lot of people take that statement lightly, but it's so powerful, because when the state and the people can come together and really put their money where their mouth is, that's when you move mountains.
I love that. I think it's so amazing that you're tapping traditionally, you know, you're tapping professional athletes and professional athletic organizations, for example. That's wonderful, because so many of the players themselves aren't coming from silver spoon kind of families, right? They're coming from, often they're at risk themselves. So amazing to me that you are finding these ways of having these cycles and ending the cycle of poverty and ending the cycle of homelessness in a way that gets so many people in the community involved. But having said that, I would love to chat with you about a day, just a day. Can you take me through a day at Save LA? What does that look like?
Well, there's a lot of moving parts. First, we'd be remiss not to mention Hot Rod. So Hot Rod is a company, a brand, a lifestyle. It's an LA streetwear company that's been around for over 20 years in Westwood, in California, and on Sawtelle Boulevard. And, you know, what Hot Rod did was give us a home for the Save LA collection that Matthew designed. And you know, they did that all free of cost, free of charge. So I really want to give them a shout out. But a day in the life is this. What we're doing is we're giving people the opportunity to get involved in multiple ways. And so our days go from potentially being at the actual brick and mortar of Hot Rod, which is on Sawtell. And we go around the city and we promote it in a lot of different ways. If you drive around LA, it'd be hard to miss the Save LA billboards and little stamped areas we have all over to kind of promote the brand. But it's more than that, because what we want to do is recreate what we've done with the uncle. And it's going to be a tall task, but if you think about it, 200 people is a big difference. But if people of means came and joined us and multiplied the efforts times 10, then all of a sudden we're talking 2,000 people out of a population of almost 20,000. That's 10%. Mm-hmm. And so daily, what we're trying to do is promote the idea, the vision, but also get other people who have power and money to join up with us. And that's why we come on, you know, podcasts. We love speaking with you, Izolda. It's not, but in general, we need all the help we can get. And I think Matthew, via his consulting group, he rolled this whole thing out so beautifully that if you have the means and the ability, you'd almost feel bad not to join in. And guess what? You get some really cool apparel to go with it. You know, this isn't like some $10 charity shirt. This is something that you could wear when you go out. It's not just like a gym shirt.
I like gym shirts. I actually have a few favorites.
Nothing against gym shirts.
No, but I get it. I mean, to me, having something that's the people are proud to wear for multiple reasons, one of which being, you know, it looks nice and I like it, but also that, you know, that you're voting with your dollars, if you will, that you're voting, that you're buying something that's directly going to go to help people. Matthew, can I talk to you a little bit about, if you're up for it, about the inspiration for the actual shirts, like the designs and things like that?
Yeah, of course. And I was also going to say a day in the life at Save LA is Matthew banging his head against the wall, trying to figure out the best to really promote the brand and get everything out there. And I think one of the ways in which I wanted to make sure we did that was being extremely strategic in the way that we approached all of our partners and leveraging those partnerships into getting them on board with helping our campaign and what we're trying to do. And the beautiful thing that came out of it is that it really wasn't that big of an ask or a struggle for them to get on board. It really was just a conversation like, hey, we're trying to make a change. You're in Los Angeles. What do you see when you go outside? Okay. Do you want to make a change? And everybody was really on board, and they've been amazing partners in what they've contributed and what they've discussed with us about future contributions towards what we're trying to achieve. So it's been a beautiful process in the making. And in regards to the apparel, I think we really wanted to come up with things that took people by surprise when they saw it, grabbed their attention right off the bat. So the idea behind the burning palm tree is a metaphor for what we saw, and what we saw happening all around us was essentially our city burning down and everybody really just standing around watching. And obviously, you know, the palm tree is synonymous with Los Angeles. So we came up with the fire palm tree logo, and everybody that we showed it to automatically fell in love with it. And the way that it pops on the back of the hoodies, the way that it sort of stands out, it grabs your attention to the point where people are are asking that question. Where did you get that hoodie? That's really cool. What is that? What is Save LA? And that's exactly what we wanted. We wanted people asking the question, and then the folks that were generous enough to hop on board to support our campaign, they're living through us and they're continuing to tell our story. And it really is their story. All of us that live here in Los Angeles, anybody really that wants to make a change anywhere, this is something that that you can tell to other people and show that you wanted to make a change as well. And because I have such a deep love, and Ardy has such a deep love for our city of Los Angeles, I really believe in a lot of ways that this whole campaign and the idea behind it and the way that we're trying to execute it and continue to make change, it was really our love letter to Los Angeles.
I love that. And I have to say, I will be ordering the hot pink and blue logo hoodie. Those are my colors. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. Everything I can do to support. And that's one of the reasons this podcast exists, is actually to shine the light on this kind of good work. And having said that, I would love it if you could talk a little bit about starting up. Like you, Uncle Ardy, you're an attorney, so probably navigating some of the morass of the paperwork was a little bit easier for you than it would be someone like me. But if someone goes, you know what, I want to do this, like you just said, Matthew, I want to do this. I live in New York City, or I live in Des Moines, Iowa, wherever, and I want to combat X, or I want to start something. What is the piece of advice that you'd give to someone who's just starting out? What's the first thing they need to do?
Well, what I would recommend is sort of what we did in the sense of doing some research, figuring out how you want to help in the way that you want to, and then also find other organizations that are in your city that might be doing something similar or that have been doing something. It's been extremely and immensely helpful to have various conversations with Hope of the Valley and learn from them and learn the mistakes that they made or what changes they would have made when they were starting out, and just learning a sort of business model of what they have now that works, and building around that. So they gave us a lot of inspiration, and then really just trying to be creative and find a way to serve others in your community. I think if you can put your own creative twist on it, I don't even care if you take our idea and change it and do the same thing in your city. That's really what we want to do. We want to inspire others to figure out creative ways to make a change and to make improvements in however you see fit with the city that you live in.
I care if someone does that.
The lawyer speaks. I love it. So I know that I could keep you here all day talking about this, and I want to respect your time. I would love it if you could, either one of you, do you have a particular story? Do you have a particular moment where you've had something that's just been profound that has happened through Save LA? Anything that's like, oh, this is why I'm doing this?
Where do we begin? For me, I think I'll be a little lighthearted too, because it's pretty funny. When we had the joint event with Hope of the Valley to raise the remaining $1 million that we needed to build the Uncle, there happened to be like 5 or 6 congressmen from local districts in LA at the event. And when I spoke on stage, like Hope of the Valley basically said, oh, we want to thank Uncle for spearheading the money raise and all this stuff. And they had me speak on the stage a little bit. And obviously, I don't know if you could tell yet, but I wear my heart on my sleeve and I speak from my heart. And after I was done kind of speaking, I walked off the stage, and 2 of the congressmen, they came up to me and started asking me, what district am I running for? And in a panic, that I'm coming for them. And I say it in a lighthearted way, but it meant a lot to me in the sense that, you know, I really believe that if you do something and your heart's in it, and you can galvanize people to get behind you, that's when you can really make a difference. You know, so many people, they have a nonprofit, or, and kind of to go back to the question that Matthew answered for you, how do you get started, this and that? Well, first, you need to really look inside yourself and think, am I doing this because I really want to, or am I doing this because I want to be on Izolda's podcast and on the LA Times? So, and that's how we end up here with you, because you, you know, you come through the people that are just doing things to do it, and you find the people that are really doing something to make a change. So that moment was really important for me, because I was like, man, we even have congressmen shaking in their boots. That means we're on the right track of doing something big.
This episode is brought to you by my book, Speak From Within. Learn how you can engage, inspire, and motivate any audience. You can also download my 4 simple tips to make starting any conversation a breeze at the link in the show notes. You're on the right path. Absolutely. I love that. Matthew, do you have an answer to that question?
I do, and I think it's sort of in the same vein, but a little bit different. I think it was for me, and I think this is something that I also want to convey to people that might be starting something or trying to create your own campaign where you are. When we first started this and when we first launched the campaign, I can't tell you how much work went into it, how many nights, hours, days that Ardy and I put everything into this. And I'll be completely honest, when we first launched it, it was not a success. We did not see an outpouring of support right off the bat. And it broke my heart. And I had a conversation with Ardy, and I think we could have easily just been like, okay, wrap this up. Let's move on to something else. This didn't work. But we did the exact opposite. We doubled down, put more into it, continued to try to spread the word. And now it's been a lot more of getting support from others, people getting on board with what we're doing. And I think that aha moment, or that moment that showed me that we're on the right path and we're doing something that is inspiring others, is exactly that, is that I would get a lot of messages from people saying, hey, this is amazing what you guys are doing. This is incredible. Hey, I was inspired to do this. Or people that I don't even know, that from another state, that were buying hoodies and then sending us messages saying, hey, this is incredible. By the way, we love the design. We love the artwork. So it just not only gave us that confidence that all of our hard work, really meant something to other people, but also that it was inspiring others, and everything that we put into this, we were getting back.
I'm so grateful that you said that, because I know so many people who really want to start something and make a difference don't get that traction that they say you need to have, and then just get beaten down by it and give up. And it sounds like you two went, oh, you think we're out? I don't think so. And then you kept going. And I'm wondering, did you pivot? Did you go, you know what, we've been approaching this way, but now let's approach it a slightly different way and think laterally and come up with some of those creative ideas and creative solutions to make it more enticing to people? Did anything like that ever happen? Or did you just go, you know what, full steam ahead no matter what?
I think it was a combination of both. I think it's like everything else in life. It's trial and error. But you gotta put yourself out there. You gotta make the best plan that you can, and then just start. And when you see something that might not be right, you're like, okay, let's make this adjustment. Oh, okay, this didn't work. Let's change this, or this is working. Let's put a little bit more behind this. And I think it's also having conversations. Ardy and I, not only have we been, best friends forever, but we've been blessed in the sense that our business relationship works the same way. The conversations that we have, the way that we play off of each other, the advice that I give him, the advice that he gives me, and then also having those conversations and being able to be humble enough to talk to others that might be successful in the space and ask for guidance or ask them questions so that you can learn to make better decisions or pivot or change. But in the sense of us and what we were putting behind this entire campaign, that never changed. Even like I said, when it didn't look bright at the end of the tunnel, we just kept pushing through. And I really believe that in our hearts, the idea behind this was to serve others and to help others. And I believe that if we just kept on with that we would get it back tenfold.
I so love that. And that stick-to-itiveness is so important, especially when you're trying to make a difference. And it seems like an uphill battle. And it sounds like it was at first, certainly. But you did something that I think is so, again, Creative Solutions Podcast, so it makes sense. But it is very creative. And it's also full of ingenuity to go, you know what, we're going to take fashion, design, commerce, and combine it with nonprofits, right? You're combining things. It's making a soup that's different than what most other people do. That inspiration, that moment of going, you know what, we can do this and we can make it happen. Where do you see it going from here? Like we talked, for example, about getting involved with the LA Unified School District, perhaps, and those kinds of inroads that you might make. Where do you see this going next after the Uncle opens, after things like that get going? What's next? Uncle Ardy, Matthew, either one of you there?
Sorry about that. I think something was wrong with the mic.
I
think one of the beautiful things about this campaign and what we're doing is that we really don't know where this is going to take us. I think the first issue that we wanted to tackle was homelessness, because it was such a major crisis and such a major issue in our city. But I think where this can go from here, it's so exciting. I feel like there's so many issues in the world that need help, that need our attention, that need compassion, that need empathy, that need change. And I think we will eventually grow the campaign. And my hope is that it'll go even further. Right now it's Save LA, but I think there's a lot of cities that need saving and a lot of other places that need saving as well. So I think it'll grow from there. But I think education is definitely on the agenda for us. I think it's definitely something that we're focusing on in regards to the encampments that we're working on building. It was a huge focal point for the Uncle, and getting tutoring for the kids within the Uncle, as well as a lot of other things that are important, like mental health facilities. So a lot of these things are on our agenda, and I'm just excited for the fact that right now we're getting a lot of recognition and building and creating a lot of awareness on this issue. So I know that, in the next couple of years, from what we want to do and the changes that we want to make, I think it'll be, this is going to give us the momentum to push through those issues as well.
Yeah. And it's also building connections, right? That's one of the things that's happening, is that as more people get involved, those tendrils are going out and more people are going to want to be involved, and people who can make an even bigger difference, who can get involved in other cities across the country, across the world. These are all things that are possible, and you two are spearheading it. And I think that's amazing. And I know people will want to get involved. And before I ask my final question, because I have a very specific final question that I ask, I'm wondering if you could give me a link or something where people could go. Let's say they want to buy a hoodie. Let's say they want to get in touch with either one of you. What's the best way to do that? All of that stuff will be in the show notes, but people learn differently. So I like also, if you wouldn't mind, having you say what the best way is to get in touch, to get involved.
Of course, the best way to get involved is to go to www.hotrodla.com. That's the boutique clothing store's website. As soon as you go, there's actually a video that plays of Ardy and I talking about the Save LA campaign. You can easily access the Save LA collection and visit and see all of the different hoodies and shirts that we have available. And I am actually working right now on creating some new apparel that will be coming out in the next couple months. So definitely excited, and we'd appreciate everybody's support.
Awesome. All right. So Uncle Ardy, I'm not sure if you're still with us. I don't know if something's going on with your mic, but hopefully you are. And if not, maybe we'll record this last part later. But here it is. First of all, before we finish, I'm so grateful to both of you for the work you're doing, but also for taking the time to be on the podcast. And I mean, that's it. What else can I say except for you have my gratitude? I think it's amazing work that you are doing to help people. And the other thing, I can't know. And Uncle Ardy's going, remember, I don't edit, so I'm just going to talk about it. I cannot hear you. Something's going on with your microphone. So I'm not sure what that is, but maybe Matthew can answer this question first, and maybe Uncle Ardy will be able to do it. Yeah, he's not listed as muted on my thing, so I don't know what's going on. Maybe I will edit this whole part. So yeah, there's something going on with your microphone. Not sure exactly what's going on there, Uncle Ardy, but you can at least hear me, and perhaps we can have you. Yeah, that's great. You can answer the last question, and I will ask it, and you can type it, and I will read it. So here is the question, and this is for both of you. Matthew, since you are on mic, you can go first if you don't mind. The answer to this question is often, it's a silly question, but I find that it yields some profound answers. And the question is this: if you had an airplane that could skywrite anything for the whole world to see, what would you say?
Wow, I love that question. I think that, to be honest, I think it would be two things. I would say that the most important thing in life is love and finding how to serve others. I think that in the world right now, I think a lot of people, and it's easy to get caught up in your life. It's easy to get caught up in the mix of everything with the way that people want to either be successful or what you want to achieve or how you want to be seen by others. And I think one of the most important parts of all of this is what I mentioned before is compassion and love for others. I think Ardy and I, and like I said, the blessings that we've had of the success that we've seen with our businesses and working together. But I can tell you right now that out of all the things that we've accomplished, there really wasn't the same feeling of joy and excitement to helping those in need in the Save LA campaign. It's just a really different feeling of joy within us and inside of us. And we talk about it all the time. And this is something that has given us motivation to do more within our community and to help others a lot more in the future. So I think if everybody can find a different way to help others, serve others, give that empathy and find that love for your common neighbor or anybody, I think it's something that will lead you in the right direction.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's a wonderful, wonderful answer to the question, Matthew. Thank you. And I will now read Uncle Ardy's answer, which is one of my favorite Rumi quotes. And it is this: out beyond right and wrong, there is a field of love. I will meet you there. And that is the perfect, the perfect quote as far as I'm concerned. I love Rumi, and I'm so grateful that was your answer to that question, Uncle Ardy. Uncle Ardy and Matthew, thank you so much for being on the show. I am super grateful that you took the time. Your work is amazing, and everything you're doing to help people you've never met and may never meet is beyond inspiring. So thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you so much for having us on. This was a blast. We love speaking with you. Ardy's not speaking on the mic, but I can tell he feels the same exact way. This is much better than we anticipated, and we thank you for your support.
Oh, it was absolutely my pleasure. And I'm glad I'm glad I met expectations or maybe even exceeded them a little bit. That's wonderful. So this is Izolda Trachtenberg for the Creative Solutions Podcast. You've been listening to my conversation with Uncle Ardy Pirnia and Matthew Árce of the Save LA campaign and many other things. As you heard, you need to go find them. You need to go support them. Let's help the homeless population in LA and eventually perhaps everywhere. Until next time, I remind you to always be bold, be creative, and most of all, be kind. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you being here. Please subscribe to the podcast if you're new, and it would mean the world to me if you told a friend about it. Today's episode was produced by Izolda Trachtenberg and is copyright 2023. As always, please remember this is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Past performance does not guarantee future results, although we can always hope. Until next time, keep living what you believe in. Thank you.